In this lesson, we're going to have a look at motion with non-uniform acceleration, and in particular, problems that involve differentiation. So you've already seen the equations of constant acceleration, i.e. the Suvat equations. But what happens when the acceleration is non-constant, i.e. what happens when the acceleration is an expression, algebraically, in terms of t? So it's not constant, it's not just a number, it's an expression. So let's have a look at that now. So I just want to recap how displacement, velocity, and acceleration are related. So let's say we've got S is the letter I'm going to use to represent displacement. So if S is displacement, we learned that velocity was the rate of change of displacement. So if we differentiate with respect to time, displacement, we get its rate of change, we get the velocity. So V equals the differential of S with respect to time, which is velocity. And then acceleration is rate of change of velocity. So A is the differential of velocity with respect to time. So A is dv by dt, which gives us acceleration. So that's how they're related. If you differentiate displacement, you get velocity. If you differentiate velocity with respect to time, you get acceleration. And this is a particularly useful concept when working with motion that has variable acceleration, because in such circumstances we cannot use Suvat. Suvat equations are for constant acceleration. And I'll reiterate one more time, as soon as the acceleration becomes variable, we cannot use Suvat. So let's have a look at a question to ease us into this. So this question says a particle P moving in a straight line has a displacement x meters at time t seconds. Now notice that it says x for displacement rather than s. That's common practice to either use s or x to be displacement. So it's given that the displacement x is 3t squared minus t cubed for t greater than or equal to 0. Now a telltale sign that this is a variable acceleration question is that we're given displacement as a function of time, and a similar clue would be if you were given velocity or acceleration as a function of time as well. That's a telltale sign that this question is going to involve differentiation, or as we'll later discover, possibly integration as well. So part A has said sketch P's, and part 1 displacement time graph, the TX graph. So let's have a go at that. So the function we're trying to sketch, the displacement time graph, is displacement against time. So I can see it's a cubic graph, and it's a negative cubic at that, so it's going to have shape potentially like that there. So let's calculate where the roots of that cubic are. So 3t squared minus t cubed equals 0, and factorising we get t squared, 3 minus t equals 0, which means that there's a double root at 0 and there's a single root at t equals 3. So that's going to help us sketch the graph now. So if we didn't have the restriction that t was bigger than or equal to 0, the graph would look something like this. So I'll do the invalid part in red, and now moving on to the valid part, it'll look something like this. And there it is, the cubic. However, since t is bigger than or equal to 0, the red part's invalid, therefore we get rid of it. And I can see that this is t equals 3 and this is t equals 0. So there is the displacement time graph. Part 2 asks for the velocity time graph. Well, we know if we differentiate displacement, then we get velocity. So v is the rate of change of displacement with respect to time, dx by dt. So we differentiate that, we end up with 6t minus 3t squared. So now to sketch that, it would help to find the roots. So when 6t minus 3t squared equals 0, and if we factorise it, this implies, so both have a factor of 3t in common, and that becomes 2 minus t, which means that when that's equal to 0, therefore t equals 0 and t equals 2. So now drawing the velocity time graph. So there are the axes there, and we can see that it's an upside down quadratic with roots at 0 and 2. So 2 is roughly here, let's say. So it looks something like that there. In fact, I can do a little bit better than that. Let's try again. There we go. Just moving that slightly like that to the left. So now it looks good. And that's something that you'll probably have to do in the exam as well. Do it in pencil, and if you mess it up the first time, like I think I did there, just rub it out, have another go. So there we go. There's the velocity time graph. So one interesting thing I should point out here is that here we can see the particle goes from having positive velocity to negative velocity, i.e. it changes direction. That corresponds to a stationary point of the original graph, because here we can see the displacement's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, then it must change direction and go back to where it started. Well, that corresponds to a change in velocity from positive to negative as well. We change direction either at a stationary point of a displacement time graph or at a root of a velocity time graph. And now for the acceleration time graph. Well, now we just differentiate again. So part 3, acceleration is the differential of velocity with respect to time, which in this case we can see is 6 minus 6t, which is a straight line. And there's the axes. So to find the root of this one, when the acceleration is 0, we get 6 minus 6t equals 0, which means that 6t equals 6, which means that t equals 1. So it has acceleration 0 when t equals 1. Let's say about there. So drawing the line, we get something that looks like this here. Line of gradient minus 6 with y-intercept 6. And x-intercept or root of t equals 1 as calculated here. So one interesting thing to point out is that where the acceleration function has a root, the velocity function has a stationary point. And again, this makes sense because this is the gradient function of that, and we get stationary points when gradient functions equal 0. So extending this question a little bit, it says calculate the time when P's displacement is 4 meters and hence find its velocity at this time. Well, just as a reminder of the functions we worked out previously for displacement, velocity and acceleration, there they are. So you might want to pause this and have a go, but I'll keep going. So calculate the time when P's displacement is 4 meters. So what we're going to do is let x equal 4, which means that 3t squared minus t cubed equals 4. And rearranging that into a format suitable to put in our calculator to solve, that gives us minus t cubed plus 3t squared minus 4 equals 0. So let's put that into our cubic solver. So it's a polynomial with degree 3. So minus 1t cubed plus 3t squared, then there's no t's, and then there's minus 4. So we get one of the roots as being t equals minus 1, which is invalid because the original question said t had to be bigger than or equal to 0, and t equals 2, and that's it. So t equals minus 1 and t equals 2. So t equals minus 1 invalid since t has to be bigger than or equal to 0 and t equals 2. So we've calculated the time when its velocity, when its displacement was 4 meters. So what we're going to do now, we're going to find the velocity at this time. So let t equals 2, which implies the velocity is 6 lots of 2 minus 3 lots of 2 squared, which you can see is equal to 0. It has 0 velocity at this time, and we mustn't forget units. And just another point of interest here, so it asked us to find the time when the displacement was 4 and find its velocity at that time. Well, we found out its displacement was 4, t equals 2 seconds, and it has velocity 0 at this time. So we go up to the graph, we can see that at t equals 2 seconds it has velocity 0, which corresponds to a stationary point of displacement also. So all of that now matches up. And then finally we'll extend the question one more time, and there it is there. Find the time that the particle returns to where it started and hence calculate the acceleration at this time. So the particle returns to where it started when its displacement is 0. So we're going to let the displacement be 0, which means that 3t squared minus t cubed equals 0. Calculations, admittedly, we've already done earlier on in the question. And then taking out a factor of t squared, we get 3 minus t in the bracket, which is equal to 0, which means that t equals 0 or t equals 3. But it's talking about when it returns to where it started, so t equals 0 is where it started. It returns back to the origin at t equals 3, and hence calculate the acceleration at time t equals 3. Well, we've got here an expression for acceleration, so let t equal 3, and let's not forget the units. Let t equal 3, which means that the acceleration is 6 minus 6 lots of 3 equals minus 12 meters per second squared. And there we have it, the acceleration when t equals 3. So let's do one more question before we have a look at some integration problems in the next lesson. And there's the question there. A particle has variable velocity given by v equals minus t squared plus 5t plus 3, where t is bigger than or equal to 0. Find the maximum velocity, proving that it is indeed a maximum, and state its acceleration when it has this velocity. Okay, so if we want to find a maximum, what we do, we differentiate and then set equal to 0. So that's what we're going to do here. So dv by dt equals, and it becomes minus 2t plus 5, which is equal to 0. So solving that, we get 2t equals 5, which means that t equals 5 over 2 seconds. So we need to prove that it indeed is a maximum. So what we're going to have to do is find the second differential. d2v by dt squared equals minus 2. And when the second differential is less than 0, this implies it's a maximum, which you know from pure maths. So what we need to do now is actually find the maximum velocity. We've found the time at which it happens. We've proved that it indeed is a maximum. Let's find the value of it. Therefore, at t equals 5 over 2, the velocity equals minus 5 over 2 squared plus 5 lots of 5 over 2 plus 3, and putting that in the calculator, I'll type 2.5 rather than 5 over 2 just to speed things up. So minus 2.5 squared plus 5 lots of 2.5 plus 3 equals 9.25 meters per second is the maximum velocity. So now it said state its acceleration when it has this velocity. Well, we can see that from this statement here. dv by dt, the differential of velocity, is acceleration. So the acceleration equals 0. So when a velocity has a maximum or a minimum, the acceleration is 0. dv by dt equals 0. So at Vmax, the acceleration is 0 meters per second squared, because that's what happens at a stationary point. So now, have a go at the questions, checking every answer as you go.